Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Aew Tonight, here with your AEW Dynamite review for September 29th, 2021. Man, this year has flown by, or particularly September. But to cap off September, we had a heck of an AEW Dynamite, crowning with a new TNT champion, Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara beat Miro in the main event. I'll get to more of that in a bit, but congratulations to Sammy Guevara, one of the guys who has been there since day one of their new or particularly young talents that they have that has grown within AEW. Uh, Among the bunch with Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, MJF, who were both on the show as well, as along with Jungle Boy, first Adam Cole. But a really good moment for Sammy Guevara, and again highlighting the future of AEW. Great end. Uh, Again, we'll get more of that in a bit. Excuse me. But if you're new to the podcast and if you like this video, be sure to click that like button as well as the subscribe if you want to see more of my pro wrestling reviews, Dynamite, Slammiversary. Uh, I may not do Bound for Glory, perhaps. I'll have to check. But we have also Rampage coming up on Saturday, so some stuff to get into then. But tonight, it was about AEW Rochester. Them coming to Rochester, of course. This was supposed to be Brodie Lee, his big debut in Rochester in his hometown a year and a half ago. But unfortunately, with the pandemic, took that away from us, and he was unfortunately debuting in front of no fans, which very unfortunate. And then, of course, passing away in late last year. But here again, Rochester was a good show. Again, in honor of Brodie Lee. Uh, and was a solid show. We had CM Punk and commentary to start. You know, he said also it was a good moment that later in the show that yes, he could be wrestling, he could be talking in the ring, but this is not about him. This is about Brodie, and that was a good line uh, later in the show. But the first match card was Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy. Very interesting match. How it would play out. Well, funny thing is, this is Adam Cole. Well, this is only his second singles match in AEW. Of course, he faced Frankie Kazarian in his debut, and then last week at Rampage Grand Slam, he, uh, among the Young Bucks, also defeated Christian Cage and Jurassic Express. This match escalated from that. Also, they brought back to attention that at All Out, when Adam Cole made his debut, Jungle Boy was the first one that felt his presence. When Adam Cole super kicked Jungle Boy right in the middle of the ring. But This good match, high octane match. Good clash of the styles. Getting into the match though, once it picked up, um, Jungle Boy hit a belly to belly suplex on Cole into the turnbuckle, followed with a German suplex for a near fall. Then a drop kick while Cole was in the tree of woe on the top rope. Cole then followed back with a backstabber, followed by a Yushi Goroshi for a 2 count. Jungle Boy hit a Poison Rana, followed by a sliding elbow for a good near fall, and then not sure what to call it, but like a burning hammer, like neck breaker, where he falls on the back of the opponent's head. Uh, type of slam for another near fall, and then Jungle Boy then went for Suicide on the outside, but he was countered with a Enziguri by Cole. Back in the ring, Cole hit a beautiful Panama Sunrise for a near fall. Then they were back in the ring because Cole was on the outside. Jungle Boy went for a German suplex, but ran into Aubrey Edwards, and beknownst to her vision, Cole hit a low blow on Jungle Boy, and then lower hit the boom, which they're now calling it, on Jungle Boy, the back of the head, for the win. Afterwards, the Elite, they came out. Somatics, and then Omega, he was there, talked about how he's heard from all his social media that the outbreak from the match last week with Bryan Danielson, and he says that's cool. Of course, the best battle machine, Kenny Omega, and then Bryan Danielson came out to interrupt, and then he asked the crowd, do they want to see a rematch? Of course, loud yes chants. And then they want to see a rematch. I want a rematch. But the champion has no balls for a rematch. So a big Kenny no balls chant from the crowd. Funny moment. So Danielson then asked for a fight from the Elite since Omega does not want one from Danielson. And then Jurassic Express and Christian Cage and the Elite Hunter, Frankie Kazarian, they came out to aid Danielson and they chased off the Elite. And apparently Friday, Rampage, we're going to get Bryan Danielson versus Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks. So, interesting test. Interesting match. I believe we've only seen one singles match out of Nick Jackson in AEW, and that was against Ray Phoenix in a heck of a match. So, interesting test for Nick Jackson versus Bryan Danielson. Should be a heck of a match, though, on Rampage. So then we got Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson versus Dante Martin and Matt Sydal. This was fine. It was normally about after the match, what happened. So Dante hit a springboard moonsault, which Dante has a beautiful moonsault, um, one of the best in the business. Again, still really young. Um, once his brother Darius returns from injury, I can just see them in a few years going off in the tag team division. Then a strange spot by Lee Johnson. Cody was in the middle of the ropes, and Lee Johnson was on the apron. He pulled Cody to the corner and tagged himself in and finished Dante with a super kick, Yushi Goroshi um, combination for the win. Afterwards, Arn Anderson called out Cody Rhodes in the middle of the ring. Cody was asking for Malachi Black, but Arn talked about how the history between the Nightmare family and the Malachi Black, and Arn brought up the differences between him and Cody. He talked about how when Cody, say if he stops at a red light, that if someone comes up to his door and asks him for the car, he'll let him have it just as long as he doesn't touch him. Arn said that if that happens to him, he'll take the Glock out and splatter the guy's brains out. Well, that's very much difference between Arn and Cody. So Cody Rhodes and he and Lee Johnson then left Cody in the middle of the ring. Said, I don't want to coach a loser. Says at least Lee Johnson will listen to his advice. So there's a interesting development where the enforcer and Cody Rhodes seem to be parting ways. Could this be because he still had booze in Rochester tonight? So could this be the beginning stage, really, of the Cody Rhodes heel turn? You know, with Arn distancing himself from Cody. I don't know, that's the start, yes. So then we got a 6-man tag. Yeah, John Moxley, Eddie Kingston, and Darby Allin, who this wouldn't be his last time in the show for Spare Country and some other guy, I forgot his name, but it was a senton by Bronson for a near fall. Driven by Mox, I believe, the Boulder. A coffin drop by Darby took out Bear Country on the outside. And then Moxley and Kingston hit our finisher for the win. I mean, really getting these guys on the show for some of their younger talent in Bear Country, who, again, they have a deep tag team division, and interesting to see. Another match that was kind of filler, didn't really need to be on the show, but I get it since Rochester and Brodie Lee's hometown. We had the HFO Hardy Family Office for Orange Cassidy and the Dark Order 16-man tag team match. chaotic, hectic, too many men out there. Um, in the end, -1, Brodie Lee's son, and Amanda Huber, John Huber's widow and wife, um, when it looked like some of the Dark Order members were going to leave, they came out with Anna Jay and Ty Conti, and they encouraged the Dark Order members to go back and do it for Brodie Lee Jr. So they rushed back to the ring, and then chaos again. At the end, there was the fatality by Evil Uno and Stu Grayson for the win. And the Dark Order, they celebrate, they hug out in the middle of the ring with Anna Jay, Ty Conti, Amanda Huber, and -1. So, good moment. I mean, I get it for this show, but any other show, this didn't really need to be on the card. But, so then Lio Rush is back in AEW. For those who don't know, he was the Joker in the Casino Battle Royal at Double or Nothing. But he got injured and had another brief retirement. But apparently he's now healthy. I've heard about him at a few shows. Apparently he's, and so now he is officially all elite again, which is good to hear. Then the Men of the Year and Dan Lambert. So, and this was mixed feelings because, look, for those who've watched these reviews, you'll know my feelings about the Man of the Year. Dan Lambert is good for his role. And I like the promo here of Ethan Page. He got a great promo, seeing how no one will ever look them again. Says he associates himself with champions. Says he looks like a champion, he walks like a champion, he talks like a champion. And now they associate themselves with American Top Team. And that them and American Top Team are the real top team. There's that. I like the promo. Simple. So then we had Anna Jay and Ty Conti versus Penelope Ford and the Bunny. This was short and sweet. Again, not much to it. But of course, since Anna Jay and Ty Conti are basically members of the Dark Order, I get it for tonight. So Anna Jay, she won with the Queen Slayer, sleeper hold, choking out Penelope Ford. Simple, yeah. So then MJF cut another great promo in the ring. You knew since it was New York. So MJF was in the ring with Wardlow. He bragged about being the youngest and fastest rising star among the group. You know, with Jungle Boy, Sammy, Darby Allin. he kind of muttered when it came to his name. So he says that he should be the AEW World Champion. And I believe he will be in the future. Just we have to wait and see for Hangman Adam Page for him to take the title off Omega. So then he was interrupted by Darby Allin. So he came out, confronted MJF. At first, MJF took offense to this, but he says he's not surprised that Darby is upset at him being number 2 to MJF's number 1. So MJF brought up numerous number 2s, Scottie Pippen, etc. Whereas MJF said he's Michael Jordan. And so Darby Allin said that he's AEW till he dies. So he says he wouldn't care if MJF left, nor would the fans. So that got a pop. And then, MJF. MJF. So for those who have watched the Chris Van Fleet interview of Darby Allin, I'm sure he's talked about it on other interviews as well. MJF brought up the interview of why Darby Allin paints his face 50% of his face the way it is. So MJF brought up the incident of, because he talked about Darby being straight edge, and MJF brought up the incident of when Darby was young. Darby went on a car ride with his uncle, who was intoxicated, and unfortunately Darby's uncle passed away, and that's why Darby, he said, paints his face the way it is. So this obviously got into Darby's head. He was trying to keep his composure. So MJF, he was daring him on, and then Darby said, "You won't break me mentally." Says you won't do it, so keep talking. So then MJF was upset about this, that he didn't phase Darby. So he and Wardlow just left. So it seems like we got the next feud for both these guys, MJF and Darby Allin. I mean, very interesting because MJF, he can't lose. Darby, he's been hot as well. So I imagine we get an eventual Darby Allin vs MJF match at Full Gear. That I can get behind. Also, another thing that Darby said in this back and forth, he said that if I'm number 2, then how come out of us 2, I'm the only one that's won a championship so far, hence the TNT championship. So that was a nice little dig for Darby. And then we get to the main event, Miro versus Sammy Guevara for TNT Championship. This match, the build up to it was a bit strange because Fuego del Sol is Sammy Guevara's best friend. Miro has beaten Fuego multiple times. And of course, on Rampage, Fuego put up his car for a shot at the TNT Championship. Of course, lost. So, Sammy Guevara is trying to avenge his best friend. This was a solid match. I think with the placement and how what was going to happen made it more unpredictable. Because Miro has been white hot. Guevara, he's kind of frazzled out a little bit. He's among that core of young guys that have been here since day one, but hasn't really gotten a bone yet. He's been up, he's a part of the inner circle, but aside from that, with a couple of big matches, hasn't really gotten his bone. Whereas MJF, he's great. Darby, you know, he's gotten the TNT Championship. Jungle Boy, he's in big matches now, and he's got NJ. So, that's obviously big wins. But Sammy Guevara, and of course he's engaged. Sammy is. But aside from the AEW side, he hasn't really gotten a championship or something really to hang his hat on. So when it comes to this was a great moment. So Sammy, he knocked out Miro with a splash, taking them both to the outside. Then what to, and I can understand why. So Sammy, he went for a shooting star splash off the top rope, but he was caught by Miro, and Miro almost fell, but he did catch him and regrouped and tossed him for a belly-to-belly suplex. So back from break, Miro hits some more offense on Sammy. Then Sammy followed up with a Spanish fly counter. So Sammy, he countered, and Miro crashed into the top of the turnbuckle and went to the outside. Sammy hit a corkscrew splash over the top rope to the outside onto Miro. Went for the GTH, but couldn't lift up Miro. Miro followed up with a Machida kick. I thought that was it. Slam for a near fall. So, going ahead here, my bad. So, Sammy hit a spin cutter from the middle rope. Miro then hit the Machida kick, which I thought was going to be it, but was great near fall. Miro was setting up for a game over, but Sammy rolled to the outside. Miro was frustrated, so he ripped off all the turnbuckles off all the top ropes, and then Fuego came out, distracted Miro for a sec, but then he got decked with a right hand. Then Miro was thrust into one of the exposed turnbuckles by Sammy. Sammy then hit a tornado DT, then hit the GTH to go to hell, and then followed up with a 630 splash off the top rope. 1, 2, 3. Or since Sammy's the Spanish God, as that's his nickname, uno, dos, tres. Sammy Guevara, the new TNT champion. Great moment. Um, and I mean, with what the work Miro has done the last 4.5 months with that title, it just adds much more to the moment for Sammy. And like I said earlier, he hasn't really gotten that big win moment in AEW to hang his hat on. Well, now he's gotten his bone. He just beat Miro, the Redeemer, for the TNT Championship. Great moment. The only thing that I didn't like about it was the time management. Um, if you cut out the Man of the Year segment or the Moxley, Kingston, and Darby match, I think could have more time for the celebration because he pretty much won it, and then like a half minute later they go off the air. But nonetheless, great moment. Sammy Guevara, new TNT champion. Uh, Miro, yes, it was pretty much clean, but Miro doesn't take much lust away from losing. He still did great work with the TNT Championship, so. But nonetheless, that's the review, guys, and that's the episode. Hope you guys enjoy it. This Friday for Rampage, we got a couple of good matches. We got Orange Cassidy versus Jack Evans in a hair versus hair match. Triple threat women's match. Thunder Rosa versus Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. We got Bryan Danielson also versus Nick Jackson. Back to the 1 hour format, I think. So some good matches to look forward to next or Friday. And then next week, it's the 2-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. You got some interesting matches. So we got Hikaru Shida. She's back on Dynamite. She looks for her 50th win overall. She faces Serena Deeb, who is back, thankfully. But I believe only Jungle Boy is the only one who has reached 50 wins thus far. So, interesting feat for Sheeta. And then we also got the Elite. All of them. I believe it's Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, and the Good Brothers versus Christian Cage, Frankie Zarin, Bryan Danielson, and Jurassic Express. I think. But the Elite versus them. So nonetheless, some good matches to look forward to. I'll be back on Saturday with their AEW Rampage review. But for tonight, thank you. Hope you guys enjoy this. I'll be back Saturday. So thank you. Peace. And be safe.